All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We do appreciate your interest in the National R3 Symposium, and we're excited to host this sneak peek of the event. If you're on this webinar, we're hoping that you're planning to join us in Lincoln, Nebraska on May 21st and 23rd. Speaking with you today for the preview will be myself, Samantha Petter, Cyrus Fair, Director of Programs for the Council to Advance Hunting and the Shooting Sports, and Marty Hogan, Manager of the R3 community for Powderhook and working with the Council. So today we're just going to give you a sneak peek of the agenda and some of the resources that are available to you so that you can make the most of your time together at the event. We're actually going to show you some of the software we're going to use too, so you'll have a sneak peek of how that functions and what we'll use that for during the event too. Without further ado, we can hop into the webinar itself. So I don't know if you've been following along with the Council's website or not, but we established a timeline and a countdown for the event, and this is both a good thing and a bad thing, because for the people planning it, it's definitely a motivative thing, but it helps to build excitement. And this is an event that we've been working to coordinate and host and making arrangements for more than a year now. And so to be sitting here 12 days out and finalizing speakers, finalizing agendas, and starting to talk about people and what they can experience during the event is a pretty huge opportunity for us, and we couldn't be more excited. As you may know by now, that this is the first ever symposium. It's the first nationwide event solely focused on resources and partnerships to secure the future of hunting, angling, target shooting, and boating. There's no other event that's been hosted that address all four of these together. We're also focusing on the recruitment, retention, and reactivation, but we're bringing together agencies, industries, and NGOs, and NGOs means non-government organizations. Oftentimes at our events that we host, we typically see our agency colleagues. We might see our NGOs at some of our NGO-specific events like Turkey Federation Convention or Pheasant Fest or Pheasants Forever. But there's not many events where all three of these different entities come together to talk about one common goal, and that is the future of hunting and participation in the outdoors, the future of outdoor recreation and participation rates. The people we're talking about engaging in these sports and the way that we promote these, that's all of our common ground, and we're pretty excited to bring everyone together to talk about that for the future and collective whole of outdoor recreation and conservation. The goal of this event is not just to come and talk, but it's to accelerate and develop action plans so that when we leave the event, we're further along and we have a good idea of where we're moving forward to make sure R3 continues on with the momentum it's had, and we have a good idea of where that might go. So Marty, would you like to give us a sneak peek of the Lincoln and what can we expect there as a local?
Yeah, so thanks, Sam. I'm located here in Lincoln, Powderhook's base here. So we're actually just right across the street from the host hotel, which is the Lincoln Marriott Cornhusker Hotel. It's a really, really nice venue. That's where all of the events will be taking place during the day. And then, as you can see, if you haven't gotten rooms booked yet, that hotel is all full, but we have an overflow hotel just 5 blocks away. That's the Embassy Suites, also a very nice hotel, and that one's a little closer to the fun stuff in the evening. Just to the west of the Embassy Suites is the Jasmine Room. You can kind of see it in the little green text there. Yep, right there. That's where we'll host one of the opening reception. So that'll be a nice short walk for you guys. And then just to the northwest is probably Lincoln's nightlife attracting area. It's called the Rail Yard, but they got a lot of just cool bars and restaurants, and they got a big common area where you can have you can watch. If there's a sporting event going on, they'll have there's a big cube up in this big area where everybody can have drinks and watch what's going on, or sometimes they have live music out there, so it just kind of depends on what's going on. Yeah, other than that, the weather's been really nice as of late, so hopefully it'll be a really nice event for walking around everywhere. If that's not the case, Lyft and Ubers are very common here. Being a college town, we have plenty of transportation, so that should not be an issue for anybody.
So to give you guys kind of a look at the symposium, we wanted to start from the beginning and pay tribute and give our thanks to the steering committee that helped organize this, but also give you guys an insight as to how the agenda was formed and how kind of this whole thing came together. We started almost a year ago, Sam, talking about the National R3 Symposium, and really things started to come together late last summer in September when we organized our steering committee at the direction of our board of directors. And the steering committee you can see on the screen in front of you, I think is a very well-rounded, well-represented group, equal representation from state agencies, industry, NGOs, and a pretty good makeup of the hunting and shooting side as well as the fishing and boating side. So, these are the people that helped us nudge us in the right direction as far as what the nation wants to hear from this symposium, and when the attendees leave, what do they want to get out of it. So if any of those people are on the webinar today, many thanks to you and your organization or agency for giving us part of your time to help design and get this monster kind of off the ground and ready for everyone in Lincoln in the next week and a half. Slide. In the same right, this symposium could not be what it is at all without sponsors. And I have said this a few times. I've been working pretty diligently over the last several weeks doing some media outreach, and we've actually got a good amount of buzz around the country, I think, on A, social media, and B, in some print and podcast and radio spots. And when I look at this slide and I look at the amount of sponsors and the diversity of the sponsors who have basically said by sponsoring this event that they see the importance of R3 and they value the work that each and every one of you are doing on a daily basis, it's kind of humbling and overwhelming. I mean, you have the big giants at Bass Pro and Cabela's, and you've got, groups that have been around as long as they have with Ducks Unlimited and National Wild Turkey Federation, and then you have big industry support from groups like Boning and National Shooting Sports Foundation and Federal and Eagle Claw, and then you've got some great research folks, Rob Southwick and Mark Duda with Responsive Management. It's really a very well represented list of sponsors, and we definitely could not have put on this event without them, and we are glad that they are a part of it. So moving into the plenary session, again, I think it's very well represented of the R3 community as a whole right now and where everyone stands. We wanted to basically take the 4 or 5 main trade organizations, that being National Shooting Sports Foundation, the Archery Trade Association, National Marine Manufacturers Association, and the American Sport Fishing Association, and basically allow those groups to provide somebody within their association, within their community, within their organization, to give a perspective on what they think the future holds for the hunting, fishing, shooting, and boating industries. So if you were at the North American or if you were at WAFWA in January, we have Steve Smits coming back from Zebco, who has done tremendous things with Zebco and helping to rebrand Zebco as the kind of the household rod and reel guys to, they're expanding into newer audiences. And so I'm really excited to have him there. Steve Hornady, who that name is synonymous with shooting and shooting sports, obviously really excited to have him there. Randy Walk from Hoyt Archery, really thankful to the Archery Trade Association and Hoyt and Randy obviously for coming and sharing what he sees as the future of the archery industry and where they can fit in with the entire R3 movement. And then Tom Domrick from the National Marine Manufacturers Association. A lot of the times, I think when we talk about R3, boating may get left out I know some state agencies are definitely diligently working towards increasing their voting participation, but sometimes it's not at the forefront of things that we're working on as a community. And so we're really excited that Tom, the president of MMA, will be there to give his insights as what the boating industry can help with on the R3 front. So moving into the actual agenda of the symposium, if you remember what I said earlier, that we used that steering committee that was on the slide 2 or 3 slides ago to kind of give us direction. There's a few things that we wanted to definitely touch on while we're in Lincoln, and one of those things was, we need a victory. We need to know and we need to show each other that the work that we are doing out in the community and out in the state agencies and out in the industries and NGOs is working. And so we developed this panel called Celebrations of R3 Advancements, and it's basically designed as kind of a uplifting panel to kind of kick things off right after the plenary thing. And you see the speakers that we have lined up for you guys: Chris Willard with Oregon, Hank Forrester with Quality Year Management Association, Rich from Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever, and then Jim Kirkrudo from the National Shooting Sports Foundation, and Dave Chanda will moderate and chime in as well on his insights with the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation. So each of these groups and each of these individuals will basically give success stories and offer a quick snapshot in time for what they and their organizations are doing to help advance the cause in R3. And so we're hoping that this will set the tone a little bit for the entire symposium following the plenary session to, like I said, basically just let everybody know that the work that we are doing day in and day out there is working and it is making an impact, whether or not you see it right away or not. And so moving right along, another topic or area that we definitely wanted to cover before we let you guys get on planes or cars or whatever to leave Lincoln was basically the significance of R3 and how that can tie into an entire organization and organizational change. I know that we, and a lot of the people on this webinar, have talked about how R3 can't just be a single standalone program and how it has to be basically a mentality within an organization or industry or agency from the top down and from the bottom up. And so we've basically found 4 or 5 individuals from around the country who have done just that and have been very instrumental in moving their agency, industry, organization through some type of restructuring, organizational restructuring, or just organizational mindset to basically include R3 and everything that they're doing, and again, just not fixate on R3 being a standalone program. It's everything that they do. So this panel will be, I think, pretty exciting for individuals looking to go back to their respective organization or groups and say, okay, this is how we can think about, this is how we can approach R3. We need to be looking at it from an organizational wide perspective and not just a single standalone entity. So we're excited about this one as well.
Thank you, Cyrus. So when we sat down with the steering committee, we identified 3 different areas that were the top of everyone's mind in addressing R3 nationwide. From industry to agency to NGO, people are talking about these different topics and trying to figure out how to advance these specific areas forward in the R3 landscape. Those areas include data in R3, marketing in R3, and then mobilizing sportsmen in R3. Each of these topics, we sat down with the committee and said, what do we need to hear? Or what are the words that we would like to hear to help kind of drive that energy forward to advance in these specific areas? And on data in R3, we've reached out to 2 of our colleagues who we know well and we trust and who have led the way for the last 30 years each on this topic of data and evaluation. So for those of you sitting trying to develop your data systems and your technology systems, Rob Southwick is going to talk on how we can end our antiquated ways and employ data to actually increase success. We've talked a lot with each of these speakers, and we've encouraged them to be frank, be blunt. This isn't a feel-good portion of the event. This is to help us truly roll up our sleeves and understand what we can do to advance in these areas. So each of these speakers are getting creative and reaching in and using this as a chance to share their thoughts and expertise and really move forward. Mark Duda from Responsive Management is going to talk about the fourth R, which he calls research. There's lessons that we've learned, and there's advantages and disadvantages of various research methods out there. And as Cyrus and I were talking with Mark to develop some of these ideas for his presentation, he has a great wealth of knowledge and a great perspective on what we're doing and how we're approaching it. We each come up with a great idea, and we think it's the greatest in the world. We want to run with it. But what Mark's been able to see through his exchange, and Rob as well, over 30 years, is that there's been many things that have been tried, and oftentimes we don't look back at what was tried before we can continue down the path to try new things. So through his presentation, Mark will cover some lessons learned and then also give us some brief overview of the different ways and the different tactics and methodologies we can use to evaluate our programs. Of course, we can't get into a how-to on every single evaluation method, but he will give us a pretty coarse overview of some of the best ones that we might pursue. So now, the topic of marketing in R3 is a topic that is a little bit different for hunting and shooting versus angling and boating. For angling and boating, LBFF has been on the marketing forefront for years now. Take Me Fishing, Vamos a Pescar, the email campaigns, Food Gab Delivery, and Granicus, they've definitely forged those pathways forward. And there's some areas where we on the hunting side can really learn to embrace those tactics and advance the marketing components we have in our toolbox. But also, at a bigger perspective, there's a shift in the way industries and other industries and retailers and manufacturers and other industries are connecting with consumers. And these tactics aren't something that our industry partners or NGOs are necessarily employing. Some of the cool conversations that we've had as we've prepared with this event was like Liz Ogilvie from ASA and Jim Kirkaruda from NSSF, who both are kind of on the industry side trying to engage more research, engage more marketing for their members. There's some challenges that we all face in building relationships, embracing new business practices, and ensuring that we're building relationships with the people who buy our products, buy our licenses, and join and buy our memberships. There's some commonalities that we can all move forward on, and that's what Patrick Finnegan of Swanson Russell, a local Lincoln advertising and marketing firm who specializes in the outdoor industry and has clients such as Leopold, Nebraska Game and Parks Commission, and a bunch of others. That's what he's going to talk about. We've gone to great lengths when talking with Patrick to allow him perspective and offer some insights based on what the committee fed us to help target the message and ensure that what the walkaway or the takeaways from this session are implementable but also insightful. And finally, I think one of the topics that everyone is really gearing up for is mobilizing sportsmen in R3. If you saw the Outdoor Life series of articles in January-February issue, basically titled Why We Suck at Making Hunters, we're starting to realize that the outdoor media and our partners and even our lay hunters are wanting to understand what's going on with participation rates and become a part of the solution. And now could not be a better time when we learn more about the opportunities we have and how we can work with sportsmen and women to engage in R3 and expand our impact, our scalability across programs and projects, and really start to take the holistic approach to increasing participation rates. So Andrew, a person who led the content creation and the direction of the magazine, Outdoor Life, for that specific feature, is going to share some of his ideas and his perspective in recent years. So at the end of these three sessions, we'll also bring Andrew and Patrick back up on stage to have a joint conversation and some joint Q&A to talk about marketing and mobilizing, because we know a lot of people are honing in on this at the state level with their efforts to engage sportsmen and promote participation more. So this is an opportunity for us to pick some of their brains and ask them those key questions. These three sections of the agenda are probably the meatiest portion and the area we place the most time and resources in finding the right speakers. And we're excited that these four gentlemen will be joining us on stage to help us address these areas and move those forward. So the first day with the panels, okay, I'm breaking up, I'm being texted. Okay, so the first day with the panels and the plenary sessions are designed to provide insight, designed to motivate, as Cyrus had said, and to also just give us an idea of where we need to go. Day 2 is focused on the work sessions. And what I like to say is roll up your sleeves when you're in Lincoln on Wednesday, because we're going to ask some resources and some questions of you while you're in the room with us. The first session, as an example, is called 21st Century Business Practices. And the way this will go is that we'll have a designated speaker who will be Doug Cummings of Arizona Game and Fish Department, who's the Chief Information Officer there. He's going to address this topic and provide some examples of where he thinks we can build better business practices, embrace marketing and technology, and start to build those relationships. We're definitely at a fault right now in engaging sportsmen and the way we're approaching R3. We don't have the tech, we don't have the ability to build scalable efforts, and Doug's area of expertise is in this area. He's led Arizona through the adoption of a new customer portal system. He's developed and innovated new products such as Point Card to create is a product that if people get and draw a tag, they're paying for an insurance policy on it. So if they can't go on their hunt, they still maintain their product or their points. He's created a new product for someone to buy that the other agencies and NGOs haven't thought about yet. So within our space, there's opportunities for innovation, and Doug is going to draw from these different experiences he's had with waste management, PetSmart, and the precursor to American Airlines, and highlight where we might go to embrace some of these business practices. So he'll talk for about 20 to 30 minutes, just offering some insights, and then based on the conversations from the day before, and then Doug's very pointed conversation points, we'll have a facilitated discussion with DJ Case. And I'll show you the software we're going to use to help us in that conversation. But we know that this session is important, and we know that this area is somewhere we need to focus, and that we think we can provide some efforts from the council and from our partner organizations to move forward in these sessions. So we're going to capture the responses of different group conversations and then use that to inform our future efforts, whether that be developing a new national plan or working with partners to advance the conversation in different areas. This information we collect from you will be put to use in the weeks and months after the event. So that'll be the first work session. And the second one to follow is focusing on elevating R3 impact through strategic partnerships. And I think this is the other area where we're hearing a lot from our steering committee as well as our partners on the ground doing R3 every day. Partnerships are good, but they're not effective unless people are putting the right resources to play and being strategic about what they really need to accomplish here. So we're tapping Howard Vincent, the president and CEO of Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever, to address how he has found success in strategic partnerships. Howard's been at the helm of Pheasants Forever since 2000, almost 20 years. And in that time, he's built relationships and partnerships with everyone from National Turkey Federation, on R3 specifically, to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, to forestry companies, and many others, creatively finding solutions to focus on his main mission of his organization, which is to get more habitat on the ground to advance the plight of the pheasants and quails. So he keeps his main idea and main focus in mind and then builds strategic partnerships, looking at his partners and seeing where they have common goals and focuses on those areas to move the message forward and to work together to have dual impact that's benefiting all parties involved. His approach has had great results, and we'll provide more insights into that during this session, and we are really excited on what the words he can offer about maximizing partner value and building synergies throughout the conservation community. And after his presentation, another 20 to 30 minute pointed conversation, we will then have another facilitated discussion with DJ Case for about an hour. You'll be broken up into groups, discussion groups here, but you'll be able to respond to the polls individually. So we'll have more than 200 information points, but you'll be able to share your ideas and see what other people are thinking during these sessions as well. So if you're sitting next to some industry partners, you get to hear their perspectives on what partnerships look like for them. You'll get to share your ideas with those other people in the room too. We're excited about these work sessions. We know that it's a kind of a new technique at an event, but we're really looking forward to using the results of these and the insights we garner to advance R3 and our strategies as a community moving forward after this event. So without further ado, what we thought we could take 5 minutes and do was offer some tests of the software so you have an idea of how this might work. So what I'd like you to do, and I'd like you to follow along with me here, but if you're sitting on this webinar, you can participate in this live poll. I'd like you to text the words R3 SYM, all capital letters, to the number 22333. You should receive a response text saying that you joined our session, and then you'll be able to select A, B, C, or D, responding to the question. The response is the question up here, well, we see you in Lincoln. A is heck yes, B is I wouldn't miss it, C is Lincoln, Alaska, right? And D is I'd rather be fishing. So for those of you on the webinar that like to try this, please go ahead and respond. We'll leave the poll open for about a minute here, just so you can see how this works.
And we'll go over these instructions again at the symposium for just those who obviously were not on this webinar, and just to make sure everyone is clear in how we're doing this. But this is we're pretty excited about this and being able to use this data going forward, like Sam said.
All right, you can see that you can also change your responses and you can update them. And it looks like we've got about 5 people participating, so thanks for being a good sport. There we go, we have some more coming in too. And we'll be able to download these results from the platform. We have partnered with DJ Case to manage this conversation at the event because we don't want to bias it. We have some structured questions we'd like to ask, and we really want honest feedback. And as you can see, you'll get to see everyone else's thoughts too. So we have some questions in there designed to kind of say, what is your idea of the best partnership? And just the real-time response will offer us a great opportunity to see what people are thinking and have a great conversation to follow each kind of question. So we're excited to use this technology at the event. We've done all of our checks and balances on having Wi-Fi, making sure people can use the technology correctly. We're trying something new, and we hope that y'all will be excited to engage with us in this specific portion of the event. So heck yes is our winner. Whoever wants to be fishing, I happen to know that there's some really great sturgeon biting right now right close to Lincoln, so you might check out some of the local Nebraska parks and buy a Nebraska fishing license. Jeff Rollinson can respond back to that later. He's in Mexico right now. But we are excited with this, and we can see the responses that everyone's chiming in here. So the final portion after the software and after those work sessions, the final afternoon portion of the event is the other work sessions of it. We've worked with each of the R3 committee chairs. Those would be for CFWA, Brian Clark; for NEFWA, Chris McCarthy and Austria Husby; for WAFWA, it would be Chris Willard; and for MAFWA, it would be Keith Warnke. And we've also worked with Mike Christensen to develop agendas for each of these groups to meet. Now for the R3 committees, we've kind of worked with them for that 3-hour time slot that's assigned in the afternoon. The first half of it is going to be a facilitated discussion where each of the groups are going to talk about the same ideas. We're looking to build and reinforce the regional structure here. We've heard from a lot of our partners that stated at the state levels that there's some things that we could be doing at the regional level that we could build synergy, scalability, and have greater impact of our efforts as a unified force rather than just each state working on their own. So these regional committees are designed to help promote that and also help to try to prioritize and strategize on where we might go first in each of the regions. Now we've also heard back from the committee chairs that seeing where the other regions are going would be helpful. So there's going to be about an hour time frame where the results of those sessions and those conversations will be reported out. And Matt Dumpy is going to address some of those concepts and help us develop our next steps at the regional level of where we might go. Now during the same time, the mentoring group is going to be meeting as well and sharing some of their ideas and conversations. We are seeing a large contingency of mentoring program coordinators and partners, and so they'll have a chance to meet and identify some of their goals and outcomes moving forward too. So after those portions of the meeting that are coordinated, the remainder of the time has been set aside, and each agenda can be found on the Council's website at the link below. But each agenda has specific areas that the regional chairs would like to address too. They should have been circulated over the last 2 weeks to collect feedback, and so each of them differ a little bit in the later portion of the event. So you can check those out, again, at that website and see. Their contact information for each chair or group leader is also on those, so if you'd like to make sure to RSVP or ask any questions, you can find that information on the site to connect with those individuals. A special thank you to all of those people in setting up this session. This is another kind of coordinated effort that we felt important to make sure came to fruition at this event. And it took a lot of conversations and phone calls and collaboration to help these come to fruition. So thank you for all your time, as well as Jeff Rollinson, Aaron Hirschberger, Michaela Ray, and Julia Pluggins, who will help us execute the event on the day. So that gives you some insights into the event and what's going down. You can see that we're looking to move forward. We're looking not just to report out, but to also have action inspired from this. And we're pretty excited with the agenda that we have and the people that we're engaging. And now Marty's going to offer some insights into how we can expand the relationships and make sure that each of the people on the phone call, such as the people who can be found in the list of attendees of more than 250 people now on the Council's website, that how you all and each one of you on this webinar can expand your engagement at the event and make the most of your time while we're together. So Marty, would you like to?
Yeah, so as you can see, the day and the event is pretty well scheduled, and everything is perfectly set there on the agenda for you. But after the event, there's some receptions going on, and even after that, if you're looking for something to do, we want to give people the opportunity to get in touch with each other. So what we did is we created a group on the R3 community for the National R3 Symposium. This will be a place where you guys can just see who all is attending. You can ask questions to each other. You can make plans. Cyrus, Samantha, and myself will be posting in that group during the event, just updates, or we'll be posting about speakers and different sessions and stuff like that. So everything that's going to be happening during that week, you can probably find it in that group. So we'll do our best to keep everybody updated with any changes or anything like that in that group. So I'm going to send a link here, and this is a link to download the app, and all you have to do is put in your phone number, and it'll text it to your phone, and you should be good to go. Just log in with the email that that is connected to your R3 community account, and it should just load into that app for you. The app is called Mighty Networks. That's a platform that we're using, and our community is hosted on there. So you can find it on there. You'll get updates. You'll get push notifications on stuff. So it's really nice just to stay in the loop. Even after the symposium, it'll be a nice resource to have. So yeah, like I said, we also created a group, and I'm going to send a link to join that group as well. You do not need the app to join the group, but it makes it a little easier when it's on your mobile phone. So go ahead and check those links out, download the app, join the group. And yeah, Sam, is there another slide after this? Yeah, so as you can see, people are already getting in there, posting around. So yeah, get in there, make new friends, make new plans. We're going to have Monday, the reception is from 6 to 8 at the Jasmine Room. That's what I pointed out earlier. It's closer to the Embassy Hotel. And then the Tuesday reception is just going to be at the Cornhusker Hotel in the atrium. So after that, it's up to you guys on what you guys are going to do. So make plans and yeah, make connections. So with anything else, we'll take some questions. Sam, I don't know if you have anything else for them.
Yeah, we are very excited. The app, having this technology and Marty leading the way on how to employ that strategy so that we can have real-time communication with everyone. As you know, the app allows some messaging too, so if you want to meet up with someone and connect there while you're on site, you can just message in the app. You can post an idea. If you can't find, let's say, the shuttle, or you can't find the location, we can use it as an SOS. It's a very good, handy tool to have, so make sure you download the app. And also consider documenting your engagement at the event. Not everyone from your agency or from your organization has a chance to attend. I saw Eddie's comment and question. We have about 250 people represented at the event, representing over 100 different entities. We have 41 states. We have 33 of the 38 different R3 coordinators out there now attending. And so this is kind of an opportunity for you all. We are excited. There was a lot of work here to bring this event to fruition, and we know the opportunity that we have as an organization before us. We hope you see this as another great opportunity for you within your careers, within your agency's R3 efforts or your organization's efforts, and we hope that we can help you make this event an impactful one for what you're trying to do at your organization. These are some resources and insights on what the R3 Symposium offers you. If you have any questions, we can take those like Marty had said. You're always welcome to reach out to us. Cyrus's email is here, mine is here, and there is Marty's. From now until the event, the symposium is our focus. We'll be moving forward to make sure that every detail is addressed so that when you get to Lincoln, we're ready for you. If there's any questions, we can ask those. And I'm going to get out of shared
Sam,
screen
Dean
as
was
well,
wondering, is the list of attendees going to be included in the registration packet? And I don't know where we landed on that as far as, I think there'll be a copy of basically what's on the website, the most recent updated version at registration, but I don't know that it'll be in the packets.
Yeah, we'll have, you'll be able to download the list online of who all will be there. So rather than printing them out, we're just going to be sharing those via email. We found that to be the best way because a lot of people will get those in hand, but then they don't use them afterwards. So hopefully by maintaining an electronic record, you'll have better access during the event and thereafter.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
So if there's not any, looks like we're good. Now, if you're participating in this webinar, we consider you trained. So when you're sitting in the audience at the symposium, you know how the software works now during the facilitated discussions. So when I'm looking at a blank screen for the first 5 minutes, I remember names. I'll be able to say, hey, Eddie Herndon, can you provide a response? Or how about Eugene Mitchell? We appreciate you guys taking the time to practice that and look at that too, so that we can make sure we get great feedback. We don't want the technology to be a barrier, so we're doing our part to make sure everyone understands it and that it's a valuable tool for the event. And I see Marty and Derek are typing quickly here. Link for the group. There you go. Thank you, Marty, for that. And, oh, perfect. Thanks, Derek, for joining us there. If you guys have any other questions about hotels, registration, if you have any issues with flights, give us a call or give us an email, and we look forward to seeing you in Lincoln. Thanks for joining us today and sharing about the last 40 minutes with us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you in
Lincoln.
12 days.
Yeah.